crafters, welcome back to my channel, Margaret Knob Designs, where paper meets creativity. So I'm back here with the Blue Fern folio or mini album that we're working on or making. Now I've done a couple of things since we last were together, just to kind of get a little bit ahead of the game. One of the things that I did is I made a booklet for inside of this pocket. I took two of the cut aparts and put them down on this little envelope, and as you know, we had this cut out and this mat right in there for a photo. I also came along and I ended up putting a flap on this because of the fact that one of these pieces here was getting damaged from hitting the lace all the time. So I decided to put a flap on here, and I used this piece of ephemera. I put vintage photo on this piece so that make it a little bit more aged, and just put a flap right there. The other thing that I did is I ended up putting a piece of one of the cut aparts as well right here and left it open so it could be a good spot for a photo mat if you want to put that in there or something sideways. The other thing that I did is I took one of the pieces of the cut apart and put that in our envelope there, or our photo frame, and I took another piece of the ephemera that I had cut out, or it could have been one of the cards, and I just put it on a piece of the pattern or the solid paper, the brown paper that I got in my design team package that is from Country Craft Creations. So this is all a design team project for Country Craft Creations, so everything that you see here, unless I tell you differently, came from them. In here I also laid down in the gussets of my book. This is actually from my branding strips on the paper, and these are about a ½ inch. So I actually made them 3/8 of an inch and used them to cover my spines. And I used different ones on each piece. Then the next page that we went over, I put the paper down here. I ended up adding a piece of ephemera right here. I added one of the cards onto some of the cardstock. I just left that plain on the back. I don't know if I added this from my paper. I just stamped. I have a line stamp, and I added that in so that that could be a great journaling spot. And then what I ended up doing was finishing off the inside of this where my photos would be. And these are ephemera pieces and one of the ephemera cards in there. This is also actually one of the pieces that I cut out of that sheet that had like the ephemera cards on it. And then coming over to here, we have this page where we finished doing the pocket. I did end up putting the last of the paper here, and I finished with a piece of white. And this is actually a very deep pocket, so there's going to be coverage up here anyways, but I just really like the way this continuous looked. Don't know if I said it, but I also took one of those ephemera pieces and I just backed it on the cardstock as well. On the inside in here, we had done some of this the last time. I think we put both of these down. I added paper inside of here so that until we can get a photo in there, that'll work, in two of the ephemera pieces. And again, I put vintage photo on both of those to kind of knock out some of that white. Then if we go over to the next page, this is kind of where we left off. What we had done the last time was we added these pieces into here, and I'm going to put some photo frames on there or something additional onto those these pages. And then I also added the magnets on here on the inside of these flaps. And so those are all set to be. I'm putting this paper. This is the paper that I have. It's going to go like this. So this sheet of the paper I cut straight across. So each of these are going to fit down like that. We're going to get that glued on. And then to the back of this, I added my magnets in here. And I have some of the paper for both of these areas. And I put down my matting. The other thing that I did was I went ahead and worked on my my spine, because I've never done a spine like this before, and I can't say that I'm going to really do it again. I'm not unhappy with it, I'm just not happy with it. Let's put it that way. I took a piece of, this is kind of like a cloth paper from Tonic Studios, and I thought that this was going to match my cover pieces really nicely and give it a little bit more oomph. I will tell you the truth, I did not get this on as straight as I wanted to, where this is all the way to the bottom, but we'll see what it looks like when we're all done. I think it'll be okay. I also got my score tape on here so that I'm going to be adding some ribbons to tie the book. So before we put this down, we'll get our ribbons on the book as well. So let's go back to where we were at, and this is not going to be I don't think a significantly long tutorial tonight, because I will finish up some of the matting and some of the other items again off camera, because some of that you just don't really need to watch me do, like create a mat or you know, cut the paper for that. So just to save some of your time. The other thing is that it's nice to have, you know, like about an hour-long tutorial video, nothing more than that. The other thing that as creators we have to consider is that sometimes it's very difficult when you're trying to upload that size of a video. And there are some applications that, like on my phone, when I'm uploading the files to one of the creator apps, is that I have to hold my phone the whole time because the screen can't go blank on me or go black on me, and I know I can put a setting on my phone, but the reason why I can't put it on my phone is because I have some company information, so it's a security policy that I need to make sure that my phone will go blank after so many minutes. I cannot have a setting to have my phone not, you know, not get a screen on it. So I can tell you there's been days that I have sat when it was just, YouTube was just being ornery. I have sat probably 6 to 7 hours because it gets all the way through, and you don't know till you get all the way through that the upload failed. And it's failed, and then you have to redo everything. So you could wait 2 hours, and then all of a sudden at the end of those 2 hours you find out it's failed, and so you go back and do it again. And I know it's not like that all the time. Let's just put it that way. If it was, I don't think I'd want to do this. So we've got those papers down. I think they look gorgeous. I love them with the green. I love these notebooks on here. So one of the other things I'm going to do is come back to this, and I'm going to put some picture mats and pattern paper on here. So I'll fix that overnight and on this side as well. And then on the back, what I have for the back is I have this pattern paper that I'm going to put down onto here. And this again is the one with the cards. I love these with the cards, and you know, I tried to spread them out a little bit over the book so that they weren't all in one section, but oh well, it is what it is. So I'm going to fit that down into there. And all of these are cut in the same measurements that all of the front flaps were cut before. So quite honestly, you could go through and take your pattern paper, and I'm sorry this makes so much noise. I just realized how much scratching that makes. That you can go ahead and cut much of your paper ahead of time before you even start matting everything. So on the inside of this, I am also going to do some matting, some photo matting in here. So I wanted to have some more fuller areas with that matting. So then in the back cover, what I'm going to do, let me just give you something real quick. Our pages were, again, let me just check. Pages were 6.5 by 9 3/4, and then these were 5 1/8 by 9.5. So the pattern paper on here is going to be, actually it's probably about, I have this at 5 1/16. It could have probably been a little bit shorter, and then here would have been 9 3/8 would be the height of this. And then on the back here, I'm going to double mat, and I'm going to use the burgundy paper. So the burgundy paper going across is 6 3/8 by just a little bit over 9.5. So it's probably 9 5/8. That would probably be right, because the covers themselves are a little bit bigger than the pages. And this will also give us a little bit more depth and volume on the back page, or pages. Oh, sudden I scared myself. I thought, oh my gosh, forgot to put my ribbons on. But those are going on the outside. So we're all good. I know I did talk about putting a waterfall in this book or doing something like that. I just decided that I needed to stick with what I had decided to do from the beginning and really let the paper show off how beautiful it is. So that's why I ended up deciding just doing the matting along here. I am going to do a pocket or something on the back. I'm not exactly sure. It's not going to be the same as what I did on the front, but something that will be a little bit more of a shorter or off-centered pocket. We'll see what it looks like when we get to that. So we're going to go ahead, and we've got this down. So what I probably am going to do is I think I'm going to do like a shorter pocket here that can put something in, and I may even put something up here, or I may put some ephemera down here with a pocket up here, just something a little bit off-centered. So this, again, I'm just going to do matting on the inside, and once I do the matting, then of course it'll cover those magnets. If we go back to here, we have 2 pages of matting. And I am going to be adding booklets to the inside of this. I cut some mats, but what I found was, because of how these pages were put together, they really were, I had to be very careful with how big I made the mat. So this one at 5 3/4 by 7 3/4 actually works better than this one. This one is 6 1/2 by 8 1/2, and I tried. Well, watch it. It'll tell you. It'll cause me. Yeah, of course, tells me I'm wrong. I could probably get it in, but it's very, very tough. So I either am going to do one this size, or I'm going to do a booklet this size. So just a booklet that's going in, or I'm not exactly sure. And you know, for that matter, you don't even have to put a booklet into the sides of the book. I think if I recreated this book again, I would, I just like side pockets. So I changed it for myself to make side pockets. But based upon the way these pages are put together, I think next time I would do a top pocket on this, because I think that I'll get a little bit more of what I want in a pocket. So again, just looking at this, we're going to mat this here and finish off some of these tags. And these are all finished, along with this matting is all finished along here with the ribbon. So the only other thing that we have to really work on, and I need to get this put on with for my ribbon. So I'm just putting some of the score tape down, and I'm going to put 2 ribbons, and I cut these about 13 inches. And I am going to end up putting my little doodads on the end again, and I'm going to make those tonight, and I'll put my glossy accents on top. So that is going to be a ribbon there. For the front of our book, what I'm going to do is I am going to mat this with the burgundy card, and then I'm going to put my pattern paper on top. I will also get out my flowers. That I'm going to add some flowers to this, because I think just the theme of it is got quite a lot of flowers, and I think it'll look nice. But the other thing is like I said, I'm not 100% happy with the way the cover has turned out, but sometimes when you're trying something new, that's what happens. And again, I wouldn't throw this out. That's not what I mean, that I think it looks so bad I would throw it out. It's just not my favorite project I've ever done. Let's put it that way. But with that being said, it is some of my favorite papers though. So then what I did is, you'll have a sheet of paper that looks like this, that is, this is in the center. So I wanted, just in cutting this, I wanted to get as much of this as possible, because then I wouldn't be cutting so much of it off. But there was a better edge here for cutting this off. But of course I was only looking at the flowers, and I wasn't looking at the writing. So it is a little bit off center. So I'm going to have to do something to the side there for me to make it not look too much off center. But I can figure something out with that. I'm not sure what, maybe a floral in here and the florals down here or something. I'll have to look at it a little bit more. So you can save yourself the time and just make sure that you cut closer to here and give this a little bit more of an edge. And I think you'll be happier with the way the front comes out. Not that it's bad, it just isn't perfect. You know, that's one of the things that I've learned with my paper crafting, is that a lot doesn't come out perfect. And I always say that in my videos that I make mistakes, just like everybody makes mistakes. And just because I'm doing a tutorial on YouTube doesn't mean I'm not going to make mistakes. I'm human. I don't do everything perfectly, and but I try to. I mean, I try to make sure that anything that I'm sharing with you makes sense and is not, and it works. You know, that's important as well. But I'm not gonna say that everything I do is perfect, because it sure isn't. All right, so there we have the front of our mini album, and we're going to do the back. I don't have that paper cut yet because I'm going to have to. Oh no, maybe I won't have to. I think I have another whole sheet of paper left, so I believe I will. I do have this sheet yet, so maybe I'll do that on the back. And I like that Emma, a novel, and with the burgundy paper. So I think that's what I will end up doing on the back as well. But for now, what I want to do is to get my ribbons on, and so that I can go ahead and mat the back. Oh. I am not a wrinkly ribbon seam binding kind of person. So if you like to wrinkle your seam binding, go right ahead. It's just not something that I know it gets wrinkled anyways, but I guess in a way I don't want to start off with it being wrinkled. So this is what we've got started, and this is just going to tie on the side. I'm going to, let's see. Wasn't probably such a good decision. Just going to put that in there so I can put that over. And our book is then can be tied. The other thing that with my albums, I prefer not to have huge ribbons on my albums either. I just not a huge fan of that. But some people, you know, it looks beautiful on some people's albums. It's just not my choice of ribbon for an album. I don't want the ribbon to overpower the beauty of the paper on my book. So there you can see it's little hearts, and again, kind of wishing that this had turned out a little bit different than it did. But it'll still work, it'll still look nice, and this paper has a really nice texture on it, and I think that it will really wear well on the album itself. So, alrighty, so I'm going to come back to you, and hopefully I can get this done tomorrow. That's my goal, that's my plan. Not promising that, but if not tomorrow, it'll be early next week, because I know there's a lot of other things coming up, and I will be getting some of Tamara's paper very soon and starting to do some projects with that. So if you haven't ordered your papers, be sure to watch out for more of it coming in. It just flew off the shelves. So I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, and I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you so much. Have a great night.